This tutorial is going to show you how to get set up with the Joomla content management system. And I'm going to show you two ways to get set up, the short way and the long way. This first short way is with Jumpbox. And you'll see that what we're doing right now, we downloaded the Joomla Jumpbox to our desktop, extracted the file, and I'm going to assume that you already have VMware Player or VMware Server set up. Just double click the .vmx file and it's going to launch VMware Player. It's going to boot up a mini instance of a computer that's running Joomla already pre-installed on it. And this is the step that actually takes the most time of anything as it boots up the computer. You're going to see it starts all these services, and when it gets finished, Jumpbox is going to show you the IP address that you need to go to configure your new Joomla instance. So fire up a web browser, put in that IP address, and it's going to pop up an SSL dialog. You just have to agree to it once, and the reason we do this is because it's secure. And here we go. What we're going to do is just set a few parameters here on this new instance of Joomla. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to give it my email address, and I'm going to give it a time zone information. So we're in Phoenix. And I'm going to set a password, and this is going to be used by both the Jumpbox platform as well as the Joomla admin. And then last thing we're going to do, because everyone does this, we're going to read the end user license agreement, agree to it, and click configure. And it's going to think for a couple seconds, and when it finishes, we're going to have a fully configured instance of Joomla. So you click the login button, and if you've set it up before, then you'll be familiar with this. This is our admin screen, and using the same password we just set, voila, we have a fully configured instance. Okay, so now we're going to do it the long way. And this is from scratch. We're going to use the WAMP stack for Windows, and this is nice because it's going to save us a whole lot of time. It bundles Apache, MySQL, and PHP in one executable that we can just go through, finish the little wizard, and it'll set everything up for us on Windows. So that's a time saver. Still, you're going to find that this process is probably about 5 times as long as doing it with Jumpbox. Okay, so we're going to give it a directory where we want it to consider our web root. We're going to tell it what to use as the mail server. Give it an email address. And that's going to finish up, and it's going to start the services, and you'll want to unblock it from your firewall if you're using the Windows firewall. Okay, so while it's doing its thing, you'll notice now all services are running. That's the Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So we're going to load up a web browser. And you can see that it is in fact running Apache right now. Okay, and the next thing we need to do now is we need to go get the Joomla package. So we're going to get the latest stable package as a zip file. And go ahead and extract that. And then now we're going to take these files that we just extracted and we're going to put them in the web root that we already specified under the WAMP directory. So go ahead and grab all those files, select all, and move them across, and copy over anything that was there. Okay, so now what we need to do, you can see that the pre-installation check is going to show us that by default there's something wrong already. So we need to go change this setting This is going to require going into the globals inc file that's in our Joomla set of files here. So open that up in WordPad, go in, change that emulation setting to off, and save it. And now if we go back to our wizard and we do check again, it's going to be happy now. Okay, so I'm going to open another window, and what we need to do now is actually set up, for security purposes, set up a different user just for Joomla. So what's kind of nice on the WAMP stack, it comes with PHP MyAdmin, so we can just go in there and go to the privileges, edit the root user, because the root user doesn't have a password right now, so we're going to go in and set a password for the root user. So I'm just going to say blah 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 and go. Alright, now that just set our new password. The only problem now is we're going to be kicked out because we don't have privileges anymore. So we need to actually edit the PHP MyAdmin default password. So open the config inc PHP and do a search, and we're actually going to have to change two different things. We're going to change the URL that PHP MyAdmin uses. And so just go ahead and specify that as localhost php myadmin /index.php. And then now let's go find out where the user is, and we're going to change the password for the root. So change that to blah blah, which is the one we just set. Close out of that, save it. And now if we go back and we refresh the page, it lets us in. Okay, so now we've changed the root password. Let's go back and add a new user that's going to be our Joomla user. So let's go add new user. Let's just call it Joomla user. And it's the local host. And password, let's just use the same thing, blah blah. Obviously we should probably use a different password, but what the heck. Okay, create a new database, give it all the privileges, and click go. So we just added a new user. It's also set up a new database and given that user all the privileges on it. So if we go back to our pre-install, scroll through the license and enter localhost, the name of that new user, the password, and database. And we're going to tell it to drop existing tables. Click next, say OK, and success. So now we just give the site a name, click next, and then this is going to be the password that we just used. So click next. And now the last thing we just need to do is make sure that we get rid of that installation directory. So let's go back there, delete it, and we're done. You can see the time savings associated with Jumpbox. There's a bunch of other advantages. If you want to learn what those are, come out and visit our website.